it seemed like this is not normal shit. It's
nope.
not normal.
Remember,
He's a grown man just whispering into everybody's ear. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Get away.
That's the image I have. I see him coming up close, and the women's faces are always real cringy, and he's real close, like enjoying, probably smelling their hair and talking in their ears while they're just way creeped out.
I just got to do this for picture purposes, but I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. Let me go. Nick.
Oh, my God. I remember when he hadn't called that he was running for president, but they were piping him up because, of course, they knew he was going to run. And they had this really, in my opinion, terrible photo op. And they had Biden just looking just creepy as hell, walking around with his token black friend, you know, and they're going back and forth and they're walking to this pizza shop. And Biden's looking like he's a superhero, pimp daddy, kind of just taking in all the energy. And people ask him questions. He goes, I'm not answering any questions right now. I'm just here to enjoy my pizza. And they're like, well, why are all these cameras here then? And are you running for president? And he's like, I haven't decided yet. And he just had this really nonchalant,
smug,
energy,
arrogant.
like he didn't, smug and arrogant, but almost like he didn't want to be there, smug and arrogant. And I was like, the dude's how old? He probably wants to retire, but you have his supporters rallying him up and being like, we can't let that socialist Jew get in there. You'll win. Get in there. Don't you want to be president? So I felt like he was even pushed to run. I don't think he wants to be there at all. I think he probably wants to be on a beach with, you know, other girls to whisper in their ear and drink drinks and stuff. You know, I don't think he wants to be there.
I mean, and maybe you're right, but at the same time, he's doing it, and he's doing it very shittily because there's nothing appealing about him. And I really have to question anybody that's voting for him based on this image that he's putting out there of being this, you know, perverted whisperer in so many people's face. And it's like, how can you look at that and like, yeah, that's my leader. That's who I want. Especially with all this stuff with the Epstein stuff that's been going on. Everybody was so excited. Okay, we want to know what's going on. Clinton was on the plane with them 26, 27 times. Trump's been over to the island. All these people on both sides of the winged bird have been to this island, and yet he disappeared. But we're seeing this individual that's being real creepy on stage. There's no way we're going to, like, back this dude. So when people are backing him, that's why I'm like, it feels flaky on the Democratic side. I can understand why the Republicans are behind Trump, even if it comes down to the race stuff. I can see why they're doing it, because this is their identity crisis. When it comes down to the left side, if you look at Biden compared to Bernie, who actually is a decent person, and he's kept his consistency throughout all this time. But yet you look at Biden, and you're going to be like, this crazy motherfucker makes more sense than Bernie?
You know what I think it is? I think that everyone's still high on Obama. I think that they're looking for some level of normalcy, and they're regressing, like anyone who's scared and doesn't want to move forward. They're regressing to a time and place where things were more normal and more accepted and more comfortable for them, which was the Obama era. Now, whether that was a good time or productive, that's up to for debate and what have you. But I think on some level they're duped, and it's more of that cronyism of, this is how, this is what I've been told to like, this is what I liked before, so I'm just going to stick with it and not branch out. So I think that they're just looking for some level of normalcy, and I think that they can deliver. I think that they think that he can deliver it. I don't think so. I guess we'll see. I don't think he's got a shot, though. I think that he came out strong at the beginning of the opening of the gates, and he kind of trailed back, and I think he's even sitting at fourth place as far as with the Iowa caucus. I'm pretty sure he was in fourth. I think it went Pete, and a very close beneath him was Bernie, then Elizabeth, then Biden. So even in white America, Iowa, middle of the country, good old boys, he's not picking up the vote. So I guess we'll see, but I think he's lost his steam.
I don't even think he's the same person that he was like 4 years ago or
I don't
8
think
years
so
ago
either.
or 10 years. There's just something about him that's just changed to where he's even less noteworthy now. Or the words I'm looking for. He doesn't have that same charisma that he might have had under Obama, or just being that back person to Obama, or being Obama's Robin, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
He just doesn't have that same do it on your own mentality or charisma overall.
And he could be burnt out. I mean, that was a hell of 8 years that they ran and did work and moved through things. So he could just be really tired. I mean, what is he, 73 years old or something?
Yeah, but even if it's that fucking pedophile shit. I can't get past it. I can't
Especially
get
with
past
the Me Too movement.
Especially
with the Me Too movement.
I mean, no, because I'm torn on the Me Too movement because some of it was legit, but a lot of that shit was unnecessary, and it was just like a witch hunt for all men for a specific amount of time. Okay, yeah, I'm not saying that women have not been treated a certain type of way, but they started going after every man. And that's just not right.
It's not helpful. Nope, it's not helpful. You're right.
And it's not healthy. And it doesn't benefit women overall. We're in a system that highly favors women when it comes to the court system. And anybody that doesn't recognize that has not been through a divorce. But it really does happen.
And men are more valued in the workplace, and they get better opportunities and exposure in that space. So I do think that we just need to even it out.
That's rightfully so, because men take on more dangerous jobs. Men will work longer hours. Men have the ability to be more productive physically, strength-wise. I'm not saying that if a woman can do the same job as a man and be equally as productive, she's not entitled to the same money, but that's not the world that we live in. We live in a world...
I'm speaking of more of the white-collar industry, which is a large percentage of our workforce. For example, let's just use a very silly example, a basic example. You have Johnny and Susie going to college to be accountants. Okay, they both spend $100,000 to get that piece of paper that ensures them a position in a company or a job. 9 times out of 10, Johnny is going to make 25% more money simply because he's a man. Now, they both work 40 hours a week. They both get 6 weeks paid vacation, and they both spent the same amount of time in studies, in school, and paid the same amount of money for that piece of paper. No, that's not fair. I agree with what you're saying, how if a man is going to go down into a dark tunnel and get minerals that we need to heal or make something, and that's a very dangerous job, and he should be paid for that, absolutely. And I think you're right. Men will absolutely take that position over a woman. Not saying a woman out there wouldn't take that position, but like you can look at the coal miners and the people of the past taking on these jobs that had them dead at 50 so that they could provide for their family. Well, those jobs are dwindling away, and like I said, mostly it's white collar, and everyone's spending the same amount of money on school unless they, of course, go to different schools.
Well, I mean, from my understanding, women are outnumbering men by a large percentage going to college. From my understanding.
Interesting.
I don't know the specifics about it, but I recently heard something. I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't fucking look anything up. I don't research. But it would make sense because men are expected to produce right out of high school. They're expected, like, if you're not going to get because even getting a college degree does not assure or ensure that you're going to make money or you're going to have some type of solid ground in anything that you're going towards. But it does guarantee that you're going to have this huge debt on your shoulders coming out of it. So a lot of times women are more prone to get a college education for some odd reason. I don't know. Well, I mean, but I can see why. Men go into vocational things right out of high school more so than women would.
True. Definitely the tech and the vocation surely there's plenty of women that go to school for massage therapy and cutting hair, but imagine all the men who go to school for like heating and cooling and plumbing and mechanical and everything else. So yeah, I think you're right. I think you're onto something that maybe a larger majority of women are going to college these days. And it's just interesting to see the shifts in the time where women are going more of that diploma job, and the men tend to maybe go toward trade, which is brilliant because, and I want to ask you what your opinion is on this, because I've gotten to a couple debates on Facebook, but I don't like to type, so that's why I have podcasts. I can just talk about it. But they were saying, and I think it was Bernie and maybe Elizabeth was catching on this a little bit, but they were saying something about deleting college loans. So cutting that off. Just, I don't know how they would do it. I didn't read up on it too much, but I thought that was really interesting that was at the top of the list of things that would get done, when that's kind of important, because these people definitely duped, like you said, going to school for something, not making a dime in it, having to go back to school for something else, and now you got 2 college degrees, one you're maybe using with a double loan. That's insane, and I feel like these people were duped. But in my opinion, I don't think that you should cut people off from responsibility of a loan they took, a government loan they took. Now, can we shave it off and maybe cut it in half and make it look a little more fair and reasonable and get those interest rate down? Yeah, I think so. But I didn't go to college. So do I get $30,000 too? Bo, did you go to college? Do you think that someone who made bad choices and picking wrong careers and spending a lot of money they didn't have at college and taking out loans should just get it paid off? Do you think that should be wiped clean?
I mean, when you talk to me about money, you have to understand that, first of all, I know this shit is an illusion. So it's not, money is this thing that they've created to take the place of trade. But it's really like they can counterfeit money at any fucking given time, and they have no regulations on the counterfeiting of it. So to say government loan and taxes, it's really just a matter of, but all this shit is just afloat because we're buying into it. That's it. That's the only reason why it's afloat. So and it goes back to what I was saying about me, like in Yang, the 12,000. It's a brilliant idea because it's like, look, we're already got people on welfare. We already got people paying X amount in taxes. We already, and you corporations are only afloat as long as the people are buying into this shit. So you need to go ahead and start putting into this tax system to give them the opportunity to keep you afloat. It's an energetic thing. It's like everything is relative. So I get why he's saying it, but ultimately, for me, it's still an illusion.
Definitely, money is an illusion.
Yeah, it's an illusion. And so it's like, when it comes to the school stuff, I think all schooling should be free, and they can say who they want to come into their school based on the high school abilities. They've shown themselves to be capable of representing their schools. But I think, all of the education should be free. I believe all healthcare. I agree with that. Free.
And I agree with that for sure.
Only makes
Absolutely.
Sense. You're trying to build up your country, and the only way to do that is to promote the intelligence and the wisdom within itself. All these other countries that have free health care, and the greatest country on this planet doesn't have free health care, but the only reason that it doesn't have free health care is because of the influence on the insurance companies, because they don't want to lose their stake in the game.
No, they've got lobbyists everywhere, all over the government, pitching to people and taking them on private trips and taking them to islands and all these ridiculous things where they can say, okay, we're going to go ahead and fund you $1 trillion. So hint, hint, don't kick us down. Don't have us lose money. When in reality, it's the same thing that kind of happened with Tesla and Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison stole Tesla's ideas And they probably just destroyed them, which I'm pretty sure they did, because most of the technology doesn't exist. It's coming back. But GE didn't like Tesla's idea of free energy because they wouldn't be making money off each household.